Hi folks, this is Ann Sachs, and for my final project in our POT class, I decided to focus on establishing instructor presence in the online classroom. Why is it important for instructors to be present in the online learning environment? Why should we even be concerned about our presence and the sense of presence that students have of us being with them in the class? First of all, instructor presence is one of the keys to the effectiveness of online learning. So in order for online learning to even be effective, students need to feel and sense that we are present. Also, studies on distance learning support the assumption that instructor to student as well as student to student interaction is a critical component of learning, and it also is an important factor in learner satisfaction. So in our students' satisfaction with our classes and their satisfaction with the online learning environment comes from the presence of the online instructor. And that also, again, leads to learning effectiveness. And studies show that a higher degree of faculty engagement positively impacts the student's learning experience, influencing student satisfaction and also retention. And we are concerned with keeping our students in our class. And in order to make our students want to continue in our classes, it's important for them to sense our presence. What exactly is instructor presence in the online environment? We have a few definitions, but they're very similar. First of all, one definition of instructor presence would be the instructor's interaction and communication style, as well as the frequency of the instructor's input into the class discussions and communications. Another definition of instructor presence is that there is a consensus that it's the instructor's responsibility to create a space for social interaction, engaging in the discourse with the students, providing information and course content, and providing students with feedback in a timely manner. And again, we'll see those factors as being important aspects of engagement. Third, the design, facilitation, and direction of cognitive and social processes for the purpose of realizing personally meaningful and educationally worthwhile learning outcomes. So instructor presence is felt through our course design, the way we facilitate our class, and the way we direct the cognitive and social processes to those ends. Finally, we can define instructor presence as the organization and design of the course, the leading of the discourse therein, and providing constructive feedback to learners. So from these definitions, you sense a few overarching themes. One study was done that looked at the most important behaviors of online instructors. And this was a study that involved about 300 students. And the results show about 10 most important behaviors and 10 least important behaviors. First, and most importantly to students, was that the online instructor makes the course requirements clear. Secondly, the important due dates and the time frames for learning activities are clearly communicated. So communication is obviously a very important factor for our students in the sense of the instructor being present with the class. Clear expectations for discussion participation, providing clear instructions on how to participate in the various learning activities of our courses, providing timely feedback, clearly communicating important course topics. So if there are topics that we want to be sure that our students understand, we need to be sure that we're communicating them effectively. A course that is easy for students to navigate is one of the most important online instructor behaviors. Clearly communicating our course goals and keeping the course calendar updated. So our students do want to have some help with keeping track of when things are due, when things become available, and so forth. Well, what are one last important online instructor behavior: always follow through with promises made to students. So Naturally, students expect us, just as we expect them to meet our requirements and our expectations. They depend on us to follow through with our promises, and we lose some credibility when we don't follow through on our promises that we make to students. What are the least important online instructor behaviors? Some of these are a little bit surprising, but it is important to note that in the study that I looked at, the standard deviations were highest among the least important online instructor behaviors. So while some students may not have thought these particular behaviors are important, other students would have placed very high importance on them. So it kind of depends on the individual with the least important online behaviors. So uses icebreakers to help students become familiar with one another was seen as not that important to students. And that an instructor is there to respond to questions whenever a student needs it, 24 hours a day. Feedback and comments always being positive was not one of the most important behaviors. Providing weekly lectures, participating daily in discussions. Here again, the level of instructor participation among students was more varied, but in general, it was seen as one of the least important online instructor behaviors. That, again, the participation, is it important for instructors to reply to each individual student's post in the discussion area? It's not as important that instructors provide videos that allow them to see and hear the instructor, nor is it that important, most important, for instructors to engage in real-time or synchronous chat sessions, to create chapter quizzes, to have a personal website for students to go to. So, to leave you with some final thoughts, every instructor needs to look at their own personality, look at their own pedagogical philosophies to decide how they will best establish their presence as an online instructor. We know that the presence is important. It's just how we're going to implement that presence, how we're going to make that presence felt. That is the variable here. And to leave you with the final quote, a strong online community keeps students engaged with the content, pushes them to think critically and articulate their ideas, and provides the support that students need in the online environment in order to do that. Thank you so much for watching my presentation.